So, hi students, today I am going to explain what are errors in analytical chemistry. So, error means an error may be defined as the difference between a measured value and the true value of a property. So, we know we will measure some value and the true value will be there. So, the difference between them is called error or some uncertainty in our measurement or experiment. So, whatever we are doing the experiment or when we are measuring something, if some uncertainty is there, then it is called also error. So error is represented by E and observed value O, true value is E. So error is equal to measured value or observed value O minus true value T. So how to calculate in percentage? Percentage error is equal to E error by true value into 100. So for per 1000, if you want to calculate, E by T into 1000. So there are different types of errors. So they give classification of errors. So errors are of two types: determinate errors, indeterminate errors. Determinate errors will have definite value, and we also know the cause, why it is having. So why the error is occurring, and we can correct it. So and indeterminate errors are random errors, so we don't know the reason why it is happening, so that are called indeterminate errors. Determinate errors are also called systematic errors or constant errors, whereas indeterminate errors are also called unsystematic errors or random errors, because it occurs randomly without knowing. So first we will discuss about determinate errors. These errors can have definite values, so and assignable causes are termed as determinate errors. So determinate errors will have a definite value, and we also know the causes of why it is occurring, so we can determine the errors and we can correct. So they are also called systematic errors. Again, these determinate errors are again two types: so constant errors and proportionate errors. Let's first discuss what are constant errors. So the constantly these errors are occurring repeatedly. So when how many times we do also, it will occur constantly. So these are the errors in which absolute error is independent of sample size. So whatever is the sample size, it is whether it is very low sample or more level of sample. So the constant errors will be independent of it. It will not depend on that, on the sample size. They are constant errors. So now we will get to know what are absolute error. So absolute error means difference between measured value and true value. So like error only. So with regard to sign is called absolute error. So whether it is a negative or positive sign. So E absolute error is equal to measured value minus true value, and again relative error is equal to absolute value minus true value by true value. So and again in percentage, relative error is equal to absolute error into 100 by accepted value, or we can say true value. So percentage is nothing but relative error into 100. Then per 1000, same relative error into 1000. Like this we can calculate. So next, so in constant errors, whatever is the mass quantity, it will not depend on that. So absolute error will not depend on the quantity, but in proportionate errors, proportion means it is directly proportion. So what absolute error will increase with the quantity is directly proportional to the same quantity. So absolute error is directly proportional to the quantity. It increases with the quantity or it decreases with the quantity. So and errors in the experiment is such that absolute error is same, but relative error varies. So these errors are called constant errors. So when we take constant errors, in this absolute error will be same because it will not depend on the quantity, but relative error will be changing. Whereas in proportionate errors, absolute error will be changing and relative error will be same. They are called proportionate errors. So and determinate errors are reproducible. So we can know, we can reproduce it, how it is possible and how we can predict it. So, and can be predicted by a person who understands all the aspects of a measurement. Who is the analyst who is doing this? When he understands all the aspects of measurement, he can easily determine the error, reproduce the error, and he can correct it. So, it is in unidirection with respect to true value. It may be in negative sign, it may be positive sign. In only one direction, it will change. So, why this determinate error occurs? So, what are the causes of determinate errors? Maybe so many causes. First is instrumental error. When the whatever are the tools we are using or whatever are the instruments we are using, if they are fault, so or the method, the instruments which we are using for that procedure is not correct, then the errors are called instrumental errors. Simply the errors caused due to the fault in the tools by the analyst. Next is methodic error. In this, whatever are the methods, experimental methods we are using, if they are suitable for that particular experiment, then we'll get correct value. If faulty or defective experimental methods we are using, these errors will occur. That errors are called methodic errors. Then operational errors. Errors due to the lack of knowledge of handling equipments. We know the equipments, we know the procedure, but still the analyst don't know how to handle. He don't have the knowledge of handling the equipment correctly, or because of carelessness or not taking correct precautions while measuring. So while doing the things, so operationally when the experiment is not carried correctly, then operational errors occur. And next is personal error or human error. The person who is doing that experiment, he don't have correct idea of how to do, or whatever are the techniques he is using, it may be improper, or because of carelessness, or he don't know, ignorance of the steps what we have he has to follow to get the correct value. So because of so many reasons, or he have personal problem, human error, so he may not detect the colors correctly in chromatography, or so many, he don't know the how to handle the equipments or the method correctly, he don't know. So whatever is that, if the personally he don't know the things to do correctly, then error may occur. So this is personal or human error. So all these are determinate errors. Then what are indeterminate errors? I already told. Errors which are caused accidentally or randomly because of uncertainty in the measurement, they are called indeterminate errors. Thank you.